Taylor Day here at the Music Zoo.
We're having fun. Everyone's learning lots of stuff here about how they made the guitars, the woods they used to make the guitars.
Yeah, it's great. You know, there's a bunch of beautiful people down here. Let's play some beautiful guitars, having a good time.
Listen, Doug, I've been here for 4 years, and every one of these events like this, you put the person's name under them talking. You haven't done that for me once, and once I emceed the whole show.
You missed me the last one too, but I let it slide.
Joe, V-I-G-L-I-O-T-T-I. I want it right here. You got it? Hello, how we doing? I'm Joe Bigliotti, the Executive Sales Manager at the Music Zoo. I am very happy to be here at this wonderful event. Taylor. I tell you what, every time I turn on the TV, if there's somebody good playing an acoustic, they're probably playing a Taylor. Can't beat them. And that's why we're here. If you want a guitar, you ask me.
Yeah, looks pretty cool so far. Maybe I can win something.
So tonight's program is kind of bringing the factory experience out here. We got some really cool custom guitars with us this evening. Taylor Guitars was started in 1974 by Bob Taylor and Kurt Listug. Bob's whole philosophy was he wanted to make an acoustic neck that played like an electric guitar. And we kind of found that.
This is kind of the shape that put us on the map, so to speak. It's a very balanced sound. A grand auditorium. It's not too bass heavy, it's not too bright. If you're somebody who plays blues a little bit, and then you bust out your Crosby, Stills tunes, and you play a little bit of fiddle tunes, you practice your fiddle tunes, then you just go to your strummy stuff. It's going to handle all those things really well. It sits right in the middle of all our guitars. GS is the next body shape we're going to talk about. This stands for Grand Symphony. And what's happened is the waist has been moved up and the outside edges have been moved out. And by just making that boundary edge a little bit bigger, you get a guitar that has a lot more bottom ends. It ends up being a louder guitar too. You hear that? What do you notice? The crowd goes mild.
Deeper.
More bass, right? Grand Concert is sort of our little secret weapon. A lot of my life, I was always like, I want the biggest, loudest guitar I can have, right? You know, if you're home alone on a Saturday and you're plugged into your amplifier, your PA, and you're playing some big old E chords, letting it rumble, turn up the bass a little bit, right? It's shaking the windows and your chest and everything feels really good, right? Well, if you take that huge, massive acoustic guitar sound that you just dialed up to your band gig or your church gig or your duo gig, what's going to happen? What are the sound people going to do to that? They're going to turn you down. They're going to take all the fun right out of that, right? Because it's not appropriate. So therefore, lots of times you see our artists playing, they're playing smaller body guitars because they're not going to take up so much sonic space. I was playing this guitar earlier today, and it was just cool how, like, if you want certain things to jump out, it's a lot easier on a smaller body guitar because the bass doesn't get in the way of the melody, and we don't go home whistling the bass line, right? You go home, you want to hear the melody. The money's in the melody. Sorry, all you bass players out there. A dreadnought is a traditional shape, has a pretty traditional sound. It also is a guitar shape that has lots of overtones. The way this guitar decays. There's lots of stuff happening, lots of information that takes time to get out of this guitar. And in a smaller body guitar, it's gonna decay a little bit more rapidly. The last shape that we make is a jumbo, and the jumbo is the biggest body that we make as a company. And if you're 4'8", this is probably not the right guitar for you. If you're somebody who plays really lightly with a thin pick, the jumbo will make less sound than if you play on a smaller body guitar. I'm going to switch to a heavy pick. So all these things come into play, you know, when you're selecting your guitar. You know, back in the day when you had your Camaro and you were driving around, it had a really cool graphic equalizer in it. You know, it had red lights on it so you could see it at night. And you could adjust stuff at nighttime. And you'd make the smiley curve. You'd be driving, and you'd have like the big bass. You'd have the bass low, high, and the mids cut, and then the treble turned up. That's the smiley curve. That's how Rosewood actually sounds. It has a lot of bottom and it has a lot of treble, but the mids are kind of dipped. It's got a lot of nice sizzle to the high end.
It makes it a great guitar if you're a singer-songwriter, because that scoop in the middle is kind of where your voice fills right in.
Mahogany, if Rosewood looks like this, mahogany's pretty much straight across, maybe a little peak in the middle. It's a very flat tone wood, and as a result, it's a real balanced sounding wood.
The playability on your guitar is based upon the neck angle of the guitar, or the angle of the neck as the way it sits relative to the bridge of the guitar. A guitar being made out of solid wood is going to change with temperature and humidity fluctuations. So what Bob kind of decided was that the neck needs to be independent of the body. So he came up with the NT, or New Technology, neck design. And what happens here is that the fingerboard extension is actually part of the neck. You can see there's a block of mahogany underneath there. So this is fully independent of the guitar. And we use a system of spacers to put that neck in there and get that neck angle right. They're laser cut, so you can get that exact right neck angle. If you need a neck reset on a Taylor, I've literally seen our techs do it in under 10 minutes without taking the strings off. They just get in there, loosen the strings on both the neck, change the shims out to change the angle. It's also very helpful for different playing styles as well too. If you're a bluegrass guy or a flat picker who really likes to dig into the guitar, you're going to want that angle a little bit lower so there's more string height there, so you can get the strings moving a little bit more. You can dig into them. If you're a fingerstyle player and like to play up the neck, you might want that angle a little bit higher so the strings lie closer to the fingerboard, a little bit easier to play. Any questions about the finish or neck design or anything like that? You guys want to play some guitars for a little bit?
I got to play a bunch of guitars that are obviously too expensive for me to buy. Who knows, maybe, this guy might give me a raise one day. Pretty pleased.
Yeah, future intern for the Music Zoo.
And then you have a volume control, a bass control, and a treble control. You have a 5-way switch to give you 5 different combinations of those 3 pickups. And right now I'm going to play through this little acoustic amp here. One more treble, right here. You want it to be darker, more bassy? A lot of the power in this guitar lies in these tone controls. They do quite a bit. The second position shuts the sensor off. And now we're just using this neck pickup by itself. All of a sudden you got this going. That's just that pickup by itself. And again, this is what always blows me away. This is, where we were a minute ago. Right. The 3 position is this humbucker here right by itself. Can be pretty twangy, right? Pretty bright. Questions? Yeah. Everybody's like, man, I just want to get some dinner. Thanks for listening.
Everybody, I want to take this time real quick. I'm Joe, the executive sales manager here at the Music Zoo. If you need a guitar, you like that, Andy? You like that one? If you have any questions about these guitars, obviously these guys are here to help. So are we. So please feel free to ask if you want to buy a guitar, if you want to talk about one, if you want to build one. We're the guys to go to. So come on down. We're here. It's me, Joe. There's Mark over here. Look at it. He looks like he was born with that guitar in his hand, right? I mean, he's the one that has the questions too. Have a good one.
Nice presentation.
Evan Rosenberg.
All right, Evan. Yeah.
I'd like to thank Taylor Guitars, that dude, Bob Taylor. I'd like to thank the Academy. I'd like to thank Jesus, I'd like to thank my mother.